welcome everyone. My name is Elizabeth Macdonald and I am a career coach with Baobab, and we're very, very happy to be here. Thank you for your patience. We've had some technical problems here, but I think we're ready to get started. And we have a poll going on. Lots of people are feeling good. That's good. Let me go ahead and share my screen for you. See some familiar faces here. So we're looking at what are our most proud of, looking at our skills for 2022 and 23. If you could put into chat, what achievement are you most proud of that you've accomplished in 2022? If you could put that in chat, we'll see what people have to share. And we're very, very, very happy. Let me take a look at our chat. Great. New General Secretary, that's excellent. Thank you so much, Gifty. Congratulations, Margaret. Any other accomplishments that you're super proud of? And as we think of that, what also is your #1 goal for 2023? Any goals or new knowledge or skill you think you would like to acquire or develop? Because that's our theme for this topic today. If we could go to the next slide, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a guest panelist today helping us talking about this issue. We have Justice Iyamurime. He's currently a country people manager at Heifer International. He has 20 years of experience in human resources for both government organizations and NGOs. You can put your goals up in chat as we do our introduction of Justice. He has an MBA from the University of Eastern Africa, Bariton, and a Bachelor of Business Administration. And in both degrees, he specialized in human resource management. He also has a diploma in secondary teaching from the Institute of Teachers Education from Kyambogo, Uganda. Before joining human resources management, he worked as a teacher and a journalist in Rwanda, and he's a father of 4 children. Justice, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. So Justice is going to share with us his perspective as an HR professional, what he sees as being the top 5 skills necessary for 2023. So I'm going to give him the floor. And after each one, we're going to share a little bit some other insights that we have. Go ahead and get us started, Justice.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and greetings to everybody on the call. As you know, I'm not speaking because maybe I'm the best on this, but maybe by chance it came to me. But I know these skills, you know, people can look at this in different angles. And to me, I thought those are much relevant in today's world. So one skill that I thought about is about, you know, being ability to be techno-savvy. You know, today we are working, every work goes around a computer. That is the one tool that we carry from home to the office. And the ability to use it is actually one key success for everybody that is, you know, looking at both private and non-governmental and even government, because we all use the computer. So how do you, you know, make sure that you have the ability to navigate the computer, use it in various ways? Today we are looking at the different changing skills, you know, how good are you using at the computer? Are you able to share information using the computer? And you use Google Sheets so that you can share a document and several other people can work on it together? Are you able to change a PDF document to a Word? You know, that is a key skill. Are you able to use surveys so that, you know, like for us in HR, we need to be able to get in touch and get feedback from our people, from staff, you know, how are they feeling with our services? Are you able to use Survey Monkeys? Are you able to use data analytics skills? All these computer can do, but in most cases, we don't know how really how to use it. I've been seeing Angela coordinating this call, but there's also a lot of skills that goes who is actually setting up this score, making sure how are you able to assign somebody to be a host. So the easier you are at using the computer, the more the convenient the world is going to be so easy for you to navigate through. And for you, as young people, you need to really take it up now, because when you come to my age, I'm close to 50, it will be so hard for you to actually catch up with the changing world. So that is one skill that I thought you really need to up the game around and make sure you are smart. You know, making reports, how quickly can you make a report using a computer? How is your report going to be looking? Is it going to be smart? Is it going to be shabby and like, you know, is not really good to take to a manager to look at? So using a computer and being techno-savvy is one big skill you cannot avoid as you go into 2023.
So with this topic, I did some research talking with Justice of looking at how skills have changed. And LinkedIn did a really interesting study of seeing how the most desired skills have changed from 2015 to 21. And the biggest category where they saw the change is that need to be techno savvy and the importance of these digital disruptive skills. And you can see how it's increased from 4% to 10%. To 10%. They also the survey is interesting. You can search it by job title, by industry, by location, and looking at the skills for project manager, you can see that there's a lot more of that techno savvy demand here with like agile project management, Microsoft project, you can Scrum, agile methodologies. You can see how these skills have risen to a much more prominent position for even a global project manager role.
Yeah, so the other skill that I maybe thought is worth to share with you is, you know, that ability to be able to look for information, you know, to be able to look for new knowledge. You know, there's a lot of, you know, the world is changing, there's a lot that is changing, and you really need to change to be responding to the changes. And that one can only happen if your mind is open to new learning, to new knowledge, so that you are able to really keep updated. You need to be doing research to understand, you know, those trends. You know, like Elizabeth is trying to see, you know, how are these changes, the skills, how have they changed? That is important knowledge. You know, as you enter into the world, you are able to project, you know, how the world and the skills are changing and what skills do you need to actually keep you relevant into the world of jobs, but also into the world of living, you know, just living. You need to live, you know, and have that knowledge. When people are talking about this, you are not out of the topic. So you need to really keep relevant. You need to get updated. You need to know the issues that are facing the world. And you really need to understand those changing trends. Today, like we are talking about global, you know, climate change. So in the 2 years, 5 years to come, that will be a very relevant aspect of, you know, like knowledge. You know, what changes, what ideas should we be coming up to ensure that we are sustaining our environment? So that is actually very, very important. You need to really be open-minded and be able to learn and to understand, you know, what skills are changing and what do you need at the moment and in the future.
So like you said, that ability to do research and fact finding. Interesting. So I looked at, I did some research on public administration skills, and you can see the skill change has been 26.5%. And if you look here, they're looking legal research, policy analysis. These are things that require the ability to do research, to get knowledge, to gather information. So it fully reflects what Justice's comments are sharing with us. Good. For our third one, I'll hand it back over to Justice.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elizabeth. So, you know, we have the social media, which is becoming another giant. We really don't know what it is, but we know there is what we call social media. There is a lot of, platforms. There's a lot of, social media platforms that are disturbing us, but also useful for us. So today you need to use appropriately, social media. How do you profile yourself? And today sometimes, currently I'm the country manager for Heifa International Rwanda, but at the beginning, I had not actually applied for this position. So they just found me around maybe LinkedIn. They contacted me and found out whether I was interested. So how do you make sure your profile is clean and smart, but also understanding how to use it? Because, sometimes our young generation, our young people have been, have become victims of social media. Some of them is a route for like modern slavery, is another way of abuse. There is, sometimes procrastination comes in, especially when you go to social media and misuse it. Instead of doing your job, you are actually, on social media and productive wise, but that is destructive. But how positively, how constructively can you use social media, profile yourself, get useful information, avoid toxic abuse, of that social media, and get links and relevant connection that are supportive on your mission. Get information, get the right people on social media that can be your mentors, can guide you, and can give you some relevant information that is very helpful for you. So social media becomes relevant today, tomorrow, and the future. So you need to really know how to use it.
So looking at this, I looked at the nonprofit sector, and it was interesting. If you look here, relating to what Justice is saying, grant writing in 2015 was here as one of the top skills that you need. But if you look in 2021, it's not there. And we think it's not there because people are, instead of writing grants, they're using social media to find resources, to do research, to network, to connect with people. And I think that's what this list here for 2021 reflects: the community outreach, public speaking, fundraising. So we're seeing that reflected in the skills.
Yeah, so that one, I thought it was important to also bring about, mobilization as a skill, because we are living in communities, and you cannot be relevant within a community when you cannot mobilize. So you need to really learn, how to mobilize people, how to, to connect, how to really talk to them, how can you bring people together for a cause. As the saying goes, your problem is your business. When you look at some problems within the environment where you are living, you can actually create business out of those problems that you are going to see within communities. But you are not going to be alone. You are going to need people, and you are going to need people of various profiles. So you need to have that kind of ability to speak, to bring people together, to ally, create alliances within communities and be powerful. One of the, what we do at Heifa, we have what we call 12 cornerstones. One of them that I realize is important is that about, people coming together, but also understanding their ability, try to save. We've seen some communities of those people that were actually very, very backward in terms of finances, but they have created communities together, groups where they have saved a lot of money. And you need really, and obviously when you are able, like to you who are educated to this level, you can use this aspect to actually be change makers within communities. So you become leaders, you become change agents, you become volunteers, and be able to really be visible where you are. And then I can see leaders being created within you people, because everybody needs somebody who's relevant, who can see problems, who can support communities. So that one I thought is quite important.
So related to what Justice is saying, and Akili said this also in the chat, good public speaking skills is becoming more and more a prominent skill that people are wanting for in 2024. Sorry, 2023. We're also finding post-COVID that there's a focus more on career resilience, learning experience, problem-based learning, innovation, creativity, adaptability. So again, looking at this nonprofit, you can see public speaking is third, fundraising, community outreach. You can see how the importance of being able to mobilize people, being a good team player, working with people, it's becoming more important. And we'll hand it back to Justice for our fifth point.
So that one, I was saying, Elizabeth, that is now the body. The others were skeletons, but how do you put the body to make sure that, you know, everything that you are talking about, you are able to achieve, because finances becomes important at any one time. I was telling, you know, some of my colleagues, you know, some communities have very poor saving skills. How can we learn that? How can we use $1 to really, if you have earning $5, how do you make sure that you are saving $1? Because there's quite a lot of money that is spent on a number of things. How do we use our meager resources, make sure we can be able to do great things with the little finances that we have? So financial management becomes very important, and this is something that we can all learn, because we only need to see what plans do we have, how do we want to reach there, and what can we do, you know, to reach there. There are various ways, but if you are having donors, how are you able to, you know, if you're having $5,000, how are you able to do great work, but also make sure that, you know, you're using it exactly to impact, you know, and reach the goals that you have already set. So if you fail to appropriately manage your finances, you are likely to actually fail on everything, and you turn back to zero.
All right.
So those were what I actually thought in like 20 minutes, you know, discussion with Elizabeth. And I know people are looking at different angles. There are quite many, but those to me came up top 5. And you know, we can add so many to this, but these ones are much as relevant as possible. Thank you.
Yeah, Justice, they absolutely seem to be the core, right? A really solid core portrayal of those 5 skills. So I thought it was interesting to look at finance and in the role of finance. You can see how it's changed, how if you look in 2015, you know, maybe retail, you know, you can see it's changed. Here we're having credit risk, investments. To me, it looks like there's a lot more diversity in what is required of working in finance than we saw in 2015. Looking at entrepreneur, that was another element that Justice and I talked about, whether you're working for another company or you're working for yourself. As an entrepreneur as well, you need to have good financial skills. And if you look here, 22% change in the skills demanded. We're seeing business development as a new skill, business planning as a new skill, sales and marketing, accounting as a new skill, where that just wasn't there before for entrepreneurship, and it's there now. So thinking about these 5 skills that we talked about, that Justice and I kind of shared his insights on, which of these skills do you think will be most important for you in 2023? And we have a poll for you. So we're curious, we would love to get feedback from you. Of these skills that we talked about, which of these skills do you think are going to be most important for you moving forward? And if you should all be able to participate. Interesting. We have this poll up. About half of you, about a third of you have responded. Is it being techno-savvy, skilled in the ability to look for more knowledge, skilled in using social media, mobilizing people, or financial management? You have about 10 more people we're waiting to respond from. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Margaret. I know the poll only lets you choose one, I think. I'm sorry about that. All right. Let me share. And the number one response that we get, very, very, very interesting. The number one response we get, I'm going to share results, is being techno-savvy. And that was Justice's number one element that he spoke about. So he was right on target with that. Social media, you guys probably know a lot about using social media. I think the challenge may be converting of how to use it in a professional situation. So number one is techno-savvy. I think it's high at mobilizing people in financial skills. And then the second one is the ability to look for more knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing, everyone. That was interesting. I know. Sorry, I don't know. We'll have to play with that poll to see. So similar topic. So which is most important? Which of these skills do you want to develop or strengthen in 2023? Let me pull up the next poll for you. So think about what's most important. Now we want to know which of these do you want to work on developing for 2023? Hold on. Let me relaunch the same poll and just have you put, so we know which one's most important. Which one do you think you need to work on improving? Is it the same or is it different? Which is most important now? Which one do you think you need to work on? Which one do you think you need to work on? And being tech savvy means being able to learn. So being tech savvy means learning how to use new software, being how to, like, if we saw one of the skills that people wanted was how to use Microsoft Project, or how to use maybe Power BI, that ability to use different software that may be useful in your job. Great, we're seeing here, interesting. And so we're seeing, let me share the results. So that techno-savvy, really being comfortable learning new software. If you're in a work situation and you need to learn a new tool or a new software that you can do it, maybe a new data analysis tool. Very nice. So now we're wondering, I know exactly. Thank you so much, Abdul. You read my mind, like Power BI, Python, Tableau. Those are really powerful tools that are so accessible to everyone to learn how to do it. We're so Justice and I, we would like to open up the floor here to see if there are questions from participants. Osman has a question. Can you put your question in chat? So we're going to take questions, and then we're also going to share with you some resources about how, especially with Baobab, of how you can improve these skills. Can Baobab help me perfect my desire to be tech savvy? Oh my gosh, Ruth, you read our minds. So here we have for you, we'll make this available for you. Resources for strengthening these skills. All of these links are courses available to you on Baobab. So we'll make this available to you. If you haven't taken these courses, you can take them and really work on improving your skills. Let's see what other questions we have from Todd Kim. He says, how long can I take to learn those techno-savvy on average? Todd Kim, it's a lifelong process. It doesn't end. It's right. And Tiffany, I agree. I think it depends on the person. It's every time you're faced with a new challenge of needing to learn a new tool. There's so many tools available. So I think it's really ongoing. Ibrahim, thank you. Yes, it's possible to be a data scientist with Baobab. Interesting. What course would you advise for taking in relation to organizing people? So we have a couple. We have how to create a professional network and also SMART goals. I know, Todd, I know, wow, you think lifelong. I mean, I'm still doing it. I'm still having to learn new tools, and it doesn't end. It doesn't end. It just keeps going on and on. We have a question from Esther of how can you manage your profession with different field skills, and how can you combine the two?
Hello, Elizabeth. Good evening.
There's Osmond. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity and for us to gain this knowledge to improve our daily life, especially as we are moving in the thorough years to come ahead from 2023 going. At this time around, you have to be very much knowledgeable, and as Justice said, you must be a social media influencer who know the opportunities around and how to maximize this opportunity as you see it. So from the point that you have given, Elizabeth, as Justice gave a biblical explanation, I think the most important thing is how we will apply it in our daily life. We have been learning these things, but I think sometimes it's kind of difficult to apply it in our daily life as we learn this. But most especially the techno survey, it needs a consistent effort. Each and every time you have to be with with the machine to learn new skills, to use different kind of data, and how to connect with companies and institutions who will need your service, to also apply all these kind of these tools, these statistical tools, the Tableau, the Power BI, the SPSS, the Python, the programming R, and other styles. I think I'm very much impressed. I have really achieved my aim for joining this program. Elizabeth, I'm very much grateful. Justice, thank you very much for the wonderful and precious presentation. In fact, it is excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's yeah, it's like drinking from a water hose, or what is it, from a fire hose, drinking from a fire hose, where there's so much to learn. But that's where Baobab is so nice, because you have these really manageable courses available to you where you can step by step really improve your skills. What do you think, Justice? How do you keep up?
Yeah, so the good thing, one is the appetite for learning, and also knowing what is your actual need. By the way, it also links to your ambitions, and the direction you are going to take. So like taking a survey is good, like you're sharing those resources, but sometimes you have friends, those that could be in that field of, IT. Sometimes you need to really be close to that friend of yours, learn from it. Sometimes you learn within the job, like where I was working from. I was working with New Grow before I joined Heifer. I was using a different system. When I joined Heifer, I found another system. So I get to learn, different system because I have the opportunity that I'm working. So before you need to really learn this before you go to this working environment, because you still have the time, you still have, there are no much, things that are holding you up. So the time you take to really learn online, but also look for a mentor, look for somebody who is more skilled, you can connect with that person, just a few ideas, learn yourself. If there is a challenge, connect with the person and ask a few questions. Some people would be willing to really support. Yeah, that's what I can say. And sometimes it's good to understand your direction and look for a mentor. If you want to do people management, you can look for Justice, so that he can take you through, you can be in Senegal, you can be anywhere. We can work together closely, if the ideas, we support each other. You have questions, I can be able to answer them for you. So you really need to find somebody, we call them buddy, somebody, professional buddy, to really take you across.
Very, very well put. I mean, having a mentor, someone to encourage you. Many of you may be having a break coming up, and so it may be helpful to set some goals for yourself during the break. I think we have a question from Ibrahim.
Thank you so much, Mr. Justus and Elizabeth and everybody on board. And there's one thing I want to add. What I have observed in Africa, most young people are really brilliant, but they are really brilliant, but they don't want to publish their skills or sell their skills. Some of them feel that if you are selling yourself online, you are bragging or you are over-advertising yourself, and which is very wrong. I've met a lot of young, experienced programmers here, but they are not getting the jobs because they don't sell their talent, they don't sell their skills, they don't sell themselves. And some also are very good, but how to communicate effectively and efficiently is another problem. Another problem I've observed in Africa is that people are not responsive. Some people are not responsive. They don't respond to email on time. They don't respond to messages on time. All these things are things that I want to let my brothers and sisters on this platform to learn from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Maybe it's just so good to let the people, our young people. I don't know the age group within the group that is on this call, but in the initial discussion, I learned that there could be graduates that are looking forward to go to the employment world, but what I've seen, from the people management aspect, why do we learn skills? Why do we get the knowledge? But attitude becomes very important. And I'm trying to link to Ibrahim, what he's saying. You have a job, but attitude can kill you and lose the job. We've seen cases where we've had to terminate contracts just because somebody is not adhering to the simple processes, simple policy requirements. And normally, sometimes we say, okay, somebody told me when you have a job, when you have mortgage, when you have children, no one tells you to wake up and go for a job. All those things are drivers. But some, maybe I would say young people, sometimes they have really lost it. In terms of attitude, you may have the best skills in the world, but attitude will not keep you. If you don't have the right attitude, you will not be kept in employment because of that. So that is a backup, on all those skills, but that is a backup. You need to really understand the requirements and be able to learn what are the best, attitude. And the principle in leadership, we always say, when you want to be successful, make your boss happy.
Mm-hmm. So true.
How do you make your boss happy? You make your boss happy by doing what is required, by adhering to the requirements. So if you cannot make your boss happy, then you failed.
So true. So true. I think we have time for maybe one more question. Any other question from the group? I think we have time for one more question. Well, everyone, Justice, thank you so much for coming today and sharing your wisdom and your experience and your insights. So appreciated. And really, really happy to have this discussion. We wish you all great success in the upcoming year for improving your skills. We look forward to seeing you in our next Zoom event in January. And so thank you so much for coming. We will see you then.
You and I, we're breaking bounds on